All right, so this lesson is Scantron Test Prep 2, and we are adding and subtracting integers. So what I like to start with is showing you the old way to add and subtract the integers, and then I want to have some instruction on your calculators so that you'll be ready for your Scantron test. So our first problem is a positive 3 plus a negative 2. Now I know we've talked about order of operations and how we need to do the parentheses first, but in this case, there's not an operation inside the parentheses. We simply have the parentheses to separate this negative number from the plus sign. So first of all, let's look at this problem on a number line. So go ahead and sketch your number line. So if we start at a positive 3, and then we're adding a negative 2, what that really means is we have to go backwards by 2. So we'll move to the left 2 times, so our answer should be a positive 1. So now let's take a look at how to do this in our calculators. Okay, so if you'll notice on the calculator, underneath the clearing button, you have this plus and minus button. This is the button that you're going to use to make negative numbers, but there's a certain order that you have to hit the negative button in order to make it work. So our problem is a positive 3, so type the 3, plus, so we type the plus sign. Now the next number is a negative 2. So here's what you do. You type a 2, then you hit the negative sign, and see how it changed it to negative 2? Finally, we hit the equal sign, and notice our answer comes out just like we thought, positive 1. So I like to practice doing it by hand way a couple more times, and also each time working it in our calculators. All right, let's say we have a negative 4 and we want to add a positive 1. Go ahead and sketch your number line. So we're starting at a negative 4. This time we're adding a positive 1, so our movement will be in a positive direction or towards the right, just by one place. So our answer should be negative 3. So let's try it in our calculators. Okay, so clear it out and type a 4. But the 4 needs to be negative. So after you type the 4, then you hit the negative sign. Okay, and then we're adding. So hit the plus. And we're just adding a positive 1. Then we hit equals. And notice our answer is negative 3. So we did it correctly. Okay, one more. Negative 2 plus a negative 3. So sketch your number line. We start with a negative 2. Now this time we're adding a negative 3, but we'll have to go backwards or to the left by 3. 1, 2, 3. So our answer should be a negative 5. Test it in your calculator. So negative 2 means I'll have to type the 2, then hit the negative sign to change it to negative. We're adding, so hit the plus. Now we're going to add the negative 3, so hit the 3, change it to negative. Finally, we'll hit the equal sign. So we get negative 5. Does anyone have a question? Okay, the next series of problems on your Scantron test prep will involve comparing integers, whether they're less than or greater than each other. So I recommend that everyone go ahead and draw a number line on your paper, and you can use this number line in your independent practice. When you take the Scantron test, the number line that's posted on my wall up front will not be there. It'll have to be covered. But you're allowed to have scratch paper, so you can sketch your own number line on your scratch paper, and then you'll have it ready to use whenever you're working these integer problems. So on your independent practice, it'll give you, it's multiple choice, and so it'll have several samples. And the question might say, which of the following is true? So then you'll have 3 that are false and one that is true. But you need to be careful because one of the questions says, which of the following is not true? So you'll have to pay attention to whether you're looking for a true answer or a false answer. So let's just practice on just a few of them. If I'm comparing -9 to 4, and I say that -9 is greater than 4, well, we need to determine if that's true or false. Now, if you can't remember what it's greater than or less than, remember you want the alligator eating the bigger number. So the question here is -9 the bigger number? Is the alligator eating the bigger number? So then you can use your number line. So I place an X at the -9 and an X at the +4, and I can see, whoa, no, the 4 is definitely bigger, and so this one is false. All right, what about this? -1 is equal to +1. Is that true or false? All right, so let's try it up here. If I place an X at -1 and I place an X at +1, are my X's in the same spot? No, so then it's false. Okay, one more. Let's compare -7 to -3. So is -7 less than -3? So when you have two negatives, you need to remember in negative world, bigger is really smaller. So this -7 is here and the -3, and the alligator needs to eat the -3, and it is. So then we place a true by that. Does anyone have a question? Okay, let's try a few subtracting integer problems. Okay, let's say I have a -7 and I want to subtract a -2. So when we worked these by hand without the calculators earlier in the year, I told you that the rule or the trick was you keep the first, you change the sign, and then you have to change the sign of the second. So that's really like a -7 plus a +2. So you change the operation, you change the sign. So what should happen on the number line should be, I start with a -7, and then I'll need to add 2, which means go to the right. So my final answer should be a -5. Okay, so now we're going to try it in the calculator. Now when we do it in the calculator, go back to this original way that the problem was written. Okay, so what I'm going to type in my calculator is, I need a -7. So I hit 7, change it to negative. Now this time it's subtraction, so I hit subtract, and I need to take away a -2. So I hit the 2, change it to negative, then I can hit equal. And notice I end up with a -5, which is just what I wanted. Last one. Let's say we have a 5 and we want to take away 7. I know when you have two positive numbers, you like to try to flip those around, but don't. You leave it exactly like it is. Here's why on the number line. Here's what's happening. Oh, I need more space. Okay, so if I start at a 5 and I take away 7, which means I need to go to the left by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my answer should be a -2. So in the calculator, all you have to do, you don't have to change anything to a negative. All you have to do is type 5 minus 7 equals, and then you see that our answer is a -2. Does anyone have a question?